£4 billion to help those people that are basically stuck in homes that are unsafe or they can't sell them. Is it going to be a voluntary scheme for these developers to get involved?
Well, we want to say to developers, and indeed to all those who have a role to play in recognising their responsibility, that we want to work with them. But if it's the case that it's necessary to do so, then we will use legal means and ultimately, if necessary, the tax system in order to ensure that those who have deep pockets, those who are responsible for the upkeep of these buildings pay, rather than the leaseholders, the individuals who in the past were being asked to pay with money they didn't have for a problem that they did not cause.
So you're saying that there could be a developer's tax and you bring in the full weight of the law to make sure that they cough up?
Yes, and I think it's important to look at this in a balanced way. There are some developers, some people in the property business who have been stepping up to the plate already, living up to their responsibilities, removing dangerous cladding, making sure that buildings are safe. I applaud that work, but there are others who still have more to do, and it's a straightforward question. Should it be those with the big bucks, the big profits, who have been responsible for the construction of these buildings and who are the ultimate owners of these buildings, or should it be individuals who have worked hard in order to get a mortgage and who are now being saddled with costs for faults that were not their responsibility? If you put the question like that, then I think there can only be one answer.
What about people in buildings that have got the challenges with problems other than cladding, insulation, wooden balconies, etc., etc.? The DCLG committee estimated sorting out fire defects could cost something like £15 billion. Are you going to be looking at that as well?
We are. I think the thing about the costs there is that we've just been talking about modelling and estimates and so on. I don't think the costs would be anything like that, but I do think it is necessary to make sure that that buildings are safe. I think it's also important to bear in mind, though, that the overwhelming majority of buildings which are not high-rise buildings are safe. And it's important that we get a proper sense of proportion, that we make sure, firstly, that we get rid of dangerous cladding, that we make those buildings which are currently unsafe totally safe, but at the same time, with other buildings that have been considered to be in scope of particular types of work, it's important that we also get a sense of proportion back. Because one of the problems that many people living in flats face is that at the moment there is a question mark hanging over the safety of their flats. That means they can't get a mortgage, or others who want to buy the flat can't get a mortgage, and they can't move on. And what we want to do is to tackle the real dangers and restore a sense of proportion.